we can actually create a river trail from Honesdale down to Hawley. We can create public access points with parking and handicapped accessibility and trails.
Building trails and connecting communities in the Pocono Mountains. I'm Jim Hamill, host of Pocono Mountains podcast, with a new 23rd episode for our third season. This season, we've shared how the D&L Trail has been a major success for outdoor recreation, economic development, and connecting people with nature in Carbon County and beyond. Now for an upstart trail system in the northern Poconos. The Lackawaxen River winds through Wayne and Pike counties and even has the Stourbridge Line railroad which goes along its banks. An ideal scenario for connecting river accesses and trails between Honesdale, Hawley, and White Mills just to start. More on that in a bit. The Poconos is a year-round destination for millions, with 2,400 square miles of forests, rivers, lakes, and mountains. With historic downtowns and iconic family resorts, it's the perfect getaway. You can always find out more at PoconoMountains.com or watch PTN, the Pocono Television Network, streaming live 24/7. Now back to the episode. On the October edition of Pocono Mountains magazine, George and Connie Roberts introduced us to the Lackawaxen River Trails, a growing network of existing trails and developing trails along that corridor, taking shape now, and someday could provide the same kind of amazing experience for residents and visitors to our Pocono Mountains as the D&L Trail. Enjoy.
Wayne County, Pennsylvania is located in the northeast corner of the state. Its county seat is Honesdale, and it's a great place for recreation in the great outdoors. You will find many trails in the county waiting for you to explore, hike, and relax. Several great ones make up the Lackawaxen River Trails system. And someday, the plan is to link them all together from Honesdale to Hawley. But you don't have to wait. You can enjoy them now. The story of the Lackawaxen River Trails starts in 2017, when the Wayne Pike Trails and Waterways Alliance was formed. The following year, the Alliance partnered with the Wayne County Commissioners to do a trail feasibility study.
We put together a trails group and we started talking more and more about outdoor recreation.
We were charged with looking at the things that would add to the quality of life in Wayne County. And the number one thing that came up was creating trails.
When we did the feasibility study about this trail system and how to connect all these communities, everybody always thinks, oh, well, the first thing people want to do on trails is bicycle, or the first thing they want to do is run or jog. Number one was to view nature in a natural setting.
The final report of the study concluded that a multi-purpose trail is possible and public support is very strong.
The result was that it was feasible to put together a water and hiking trail from Honesdale down all the way to Hawley.
Based on the feedback, a trail concept plan was created. It depicted the large-scale and long-range vision for what the trail system could become, using the river, railroad, and U.S. Route 6 corridors to connect key community resources, existing trails, recreational facilities, economic hubs, and cultural opportunities.
We're kind of looking at all modes of transportation, bike, paddle, pedestrian, and automobile, separating them and making clear connections as best we could. So it's a great start.
The plan is to connect Honesdale to Hawley and Lake Wallenpaupack through a trail system.
The starting point was right here in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. There already are some set points, White Mills, Indian Orchard, and then Hawley, of course, which double as both, hopefully, future trail access for hiking.
The real aim is to connect communities along the spine of the Lackawaxen River, which historically has always been part of development and settlement in the community.
The Lackawaxen River Trails consists of 3 modes of transportation. A walking hiking trail, which may or may not include biking.
What we're calling the pedestrian trail, primarily adjacent to the train tracks between Honesdale and Hawley, would be wide enough and allow for biking, walking, and several other kind of pedestrian-oriented means of travel.
A biking trail utilizing Route 6.
We have a bike route along Route 6 that's already kind of recorded by PennDOT. You don't have necessarily bike lanes, but you have the right to bike.
and a river trail consisting of the Dyeberry Creek, the Lackawaxen River, and the Wallenpawpack Creek. One of the first things being addressed is river access.
Up until now, there has been no public access points on the Lackawaxen River in Wayne or Pike County. And so the effort was the individual communities are doing a great job, Honesdale, White Mills, Hawley, but they're not connected and it's not obvious to people.
The people who own private property along the river in Wayne County, it was one of their major complaints. People have to trespass, they have to park and walk on our land, which is private, in order to get to the river. So we said, well, we can solve that problem. We can actually create a river trail from Honesdale down to Hawley. We can create public access points with parking and handicapped accessibility and trails.
Access to the Lackawaxen River is planned for 3 areas: in Honesdale at Sycamore Point, in White Mills, and in Hawley near Bingham Park. The Hawley access is operational.
Because of the connection from Honesdale and White Mills down, this is a great exit point for kayakers coming the whole distance. This is also unique in Hawley. We're at the confluence of 3 rivers, the Lackawaxen, Middle Creek, and the Wallenpawpack. So you get a wonderfully diverse viewscape of nature when you're kayaking here.
A new access point at White Mills has just been completed.
So in White Mills, there's been also a Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission as well as DCNR funding to help create honest and true river access for the public, so that if you're coming down from Honesdale and you want to take out there, you can, and there'll be a precast boat ramp there as well and some comfort facilities because it's equidistant almost between Honesdale and Hawley right there.
And one is planned for Sycamore Point in Honesdale.
There's expansion plans now to make this handicap accessible for fishing. It's going to be, a little bit better roadway where people can come down here and put their kayaks in.
People that live here don't even know that this exists because it's not super accessible. It's pretty steep to get down to this spot. But when we're able to grade it and make it a real boat launch and community space, I think that this is going to be a real gem for Honesdale.
A much more difficult step is developing a walking trail between the towns.
So we are looking and designing a walking trail from Honesdale south going and east going towards Hawley as the next section, because planning takes time, funding takes time, and you always need to be working on that even while the other areas are under construction. But you'll see a lot of change in the next 12 months.
Now let's take a look at some of the trails that do exist in Wayne County that you can take advantage of right now. There are 4 located in Honesdale. We start in Honesdale, where there's several trails set up in the community.
You can get started right here in Central Park.
Central Park is a block from downtown next to Wayne County Courthouse. It contains a 4/10 of a mile loop for an easy 7-minute walk. This is a gentle 3% or less grade. Most wheelchairs and strollers can be used here. There are benches along the route for resting. This trail is great for running and walking. Dogs are welcome, but they must be on a leash. Central Park has a playground, seating areas, monuments, and walking trails. The park also hosts numerous events. From this point, you can walk into downtown Honesdale and see the many shops and eateries.
Nearby, you'll find a more challenging trail. This is the famous Irving Cliff with a great view of Honesdale. Irving Cliff and Gibbons Memorial Park is a 55-acre public park accessible from the bottom of the cliff at Park Street and Riverside Drive, or from the top off Cliff Street. Irving Cliff provides panoramic views of Honesdale.
Irving Cliff gets its name from Washington Irving, the famous American author. He was friends with Philip Hone, who helped found Honesdale as part of the D&H Canal. Back when they were friends and they came here, Washington Irving actually hiked up the cliff and made some notations in a letter to his sister about it, so that's where it gets its name from.
Atop the cliff is the Richard Dick Smith Memorial Star, which shines each holiday season. A native of Honesdale, Smith wrote the song Winter Wonderland in 1934. There is 1.5 miles of trails here, with several connecting side trails off the main trail.
Just outside of Honesdale is Apple Grove Park near Wayne County Fairgrounds off Route 191. While there are no trails here yet, there are plenty of places to walk. It's an open green space with parking and a picnic area adjacent to Veterans Park with a pavilion.
So we have the opportunity at Apple Grove to develop a dog park and trail system there thanks to DCNR funding that the borough has obtained. And that would also allow for different amenities surrounding that too, from recreation for kids, maybe some opportunities to get onto the Dyeberry Creek as well.
When I grew up, I used to go down there swimming all the time in the creek. It's a beautiful area. There's some nice pools there. A lot of people use it for fly fishing and fishing in general.
From Apple Grove, we work our way back into town at the Park Street complex.
When the county took that over, they made a lot of improvements to the area down there, both in the playground area as well as a walking trail along the Park Street complex.
And it's a river walkway, and it used to be overgrown on the riverside, and there was a fence because it was an old school and a playground, and you couldn't even see the river. People didn't even know the river was there half the time.
Here you'll find an elevated pathway along the Lackawaxen River with a nicely maintained gravel surface. There are picnic tables and a playground along the trail, and access down to the river where you can rest.
This trail ends at Park Street, where you can walk into downtown Honesdale to connect with the other trails we've mentioned.
We have talked at the hospital about building possibly a more standard kind of walkway between the Park Street complex, the Stourbridge area, and the river bridge, and then into downtown Honesdale. That hasn't happened yet because we haven't gotten that far yet, but it is certainly on the agenda somewhere.
Because we have borough property on either side of the Lackawaxen River as it comes down from the Park Street complex that we'd like to over time also develop some trail systems there too to integrate Gibbons Memorial Park and then down through the Lackawaxen River Trails launch at the county property as well at the point there.
The future of the Lackawaxen River Trails is to provide a trail along railroad tracks out to White Mills, about 6 miles away. At the corner of Route 6 and Elizabeth Street, you'll find the Dorflinger Factory Museum. Tucked between the museum and the historic White Mills Firehouse is the White Mills Community Trail. This uphill-downhill path travels along a tributary of the Lackawaxen River to Lollipop Pond. It's adjacent to the homes on Charles Street, which once housed workers at the glass factory. The museum is a great place to check out local history. It's open April 15th through December 15th, Wednesday through Sunday.
We're here at our next stop, which is a network of several trails.
That's right, Connie. This is the Dorflinger Sudum Wildlife Sanctuary in White Mills. And it has several different trails here, branching off of the main trail, which is 2.7 miles long.
The parking lot is located off of Elizabeth Street in White Mills. As you make your way down towards Trout Lake to the start of the trails, you'll find a very clean bathroom facility with running water.
You'll also find the Dorflinger Glass Factory Museum here, which is open May through October, Wednesday through Sunday.
There are 3 great trails here that take you into the forests that surround the sanctuary.
The Springhouse Trail is an easy 1.8-mile loop that takes about 40 minutes to complete. You can combine that with the Rock Oak and Old Meadows trails to make a 2.7-mile loop trail for a 1-hour walk. Within that loop is the Flying Squirrel Trail, which is a 1.3-mile loop trail that takes about 30 minutes to finish. Our walk through the sanctuary took us past the outdoor amphitheater. Concerts are held here throughout the summer. We eventually made it out to a meadow where we found the beautiful Sudam Pond.
More hiking through the forest revealed an assortment of different plants and animals along the way.
Here on the property you'll find these maps, like this trail legend here, which explains where you're at. You find the dot on here. And you can see the different trails that make up this whole sanctuary. And they're all marked with the trees too. There's colors on them that allow you to figure out, which trail you want to go on.
As you wind your way through the 600-acre preserve, we go through changes in elevation, and the trail surfaces change. Good hiking shoes or boots are recommended. We end at Trout Lake, where we take a break on a swing and relax.
The Wayne and Pike Trails and Waterways Alliance is a not-for-profit entity. It acts solely to generate funding and oversee the development of the Lackawaxen River Trails. You can donate by becoming a trail keeper. Go to lackawaxenrivertrails.org or contact Ryan Jennings at the Foundation, 570-251-9993.
Want to learn more about the Lackawaxen River Trails? Head to lackawaxenrivertrails.org and follow the trails on social. Thanks for listening to the Pocono Mountains podcast. We'll have a new episode each week highlighting lots of the fun things you can experience while you're visiting the Poconos. Subscribe and leave a review and/or comment on whatever platform you listen.
In the Pocono Mountains, a new season is just around the corner.
And no matter what the season, there's always something exciting happening. Winter, spring, summer, or fall. The four-season Pocono Mountains. Visit us at PoconoMountains.com.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Pocono Mountains podcast. I'm Jim Hamill. Recently, our partners at NBC Philadelphia and Philly Live visited Bushkill Falls and the Stourbridge Line. Here's Sheila Watko from her recent stop in the Poconos. Enjoy.
Any time of the year, the short trip up to the Pocono Mountains offers you and the family so much to see and do. Breathtaking views, unique experiences, award-winning dining, the list goes on. Before summer winds down, we're here to check out some spots you have to see to believe. Let's start at Bushkill Falls. Only a 15-minute walk to the observation deck, you'll quickly see why Bushkill Falls is called the Niagara of Pennsylvania.
This is so cool, and look how high up we are.
The main falls, towering 100 feet above the creek below, is your first peek at the network of falls on the property. Wear comfortable shoes to explore the trails and discover even more.
The main falls is actually just the beginning. Let's see what else we can find. Come on.
The trail network can bring you to all 8 falls. Varying in lengths from 15 minutes to 2 hours, you can choose your own adventure at your own pace.
What an incredible first stop on our Poconos adventure. Put Bushkill Falls right at the top of your to-do list for your next trip up north. But we're not done yet. The Stourbridge Line in Honesdale is a unique experience you can only find in the Poconos.
Based in Honesdale, the birthplace of the American Railroad, the Stourbridge Line is a perfect day trip for anyone looking to experience the beauty of the Poconos by rail.
The rail was put in after the canal closed in the 1800s. The rail cars that we operate are vintage equipment, one being from the late teens, early 20s. We do have a dining car that we use for our dinner and theater trains. That's 1950s. All kinds of things here along the tracks.
Hear about the history of the Stourbridge Line as you ride along the scenic Lackawaxen River Valley. You can sit back, relax, and enjoy views.
I don't think there's anything that's comparable anywhere with the history and the excursion itself as far as the ride. You're in and out of the woods, along the river, into the towns. So I think we have a little something special that you don't see everywhere. I couldn't think of a better thing to do with a family. Children love trains, and trains bring out the kid even in adults.
An affordable activity for the family, the Stourbridge Line hosts an array of special events on the train throughout the year. Fall foliage trips, beer and wine tastings with live music, even Christmas tree trains with Santa, and so much more.
Can you believe this is all within such a short drive from home? Any trip to the Poconos will leave you and your family with lasting memories. And with so much to do, I'm already planning my next visit. Start planning your getaway now at PoconoMountains.com and watch the Pocono Television Network anytime, anywhere for insider tips for your visit.
The Stourbridge Line and Bushkill Falls, as well as Lackawaxen River Trails. Just some of the great activities for families here in the Poconos. Watch for part 2 of that Lackawaxen River Trails segment coming up on the November edition of Pocono Mountains Magazine. We hope you enjoyed Pocono Mountains podcast. Please remember to subscribe anywhere podcasts are available. Come visit us in the Pocono Mountains. Plan your trip today.